Twitter, whatever the shit, sorry for my language, but the shit management team that Twitter ran before, I really think they were shit. I think there's a huge opportunity out there for the markets of the South, where, whether it's India, it's Thailand, it's Indonesia, it's Malaysia, it's Nigeria, it's Kenya. These are the markets where I think a lot of potential is there. And, happy to see if we can somehow curate something together. But really, thank you so much, Sarah, for, letting me vent. And really want to hats off to you and everybody else. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. And that is such a valid point in the fact that even if accounts are reinstated, but then being shadow banned relentlessly, then they can get they can make no impact here. So it is a huge issue. And I think it is another workaround that, is being used against certain people and certain entities and voices. And again, what happened with us with the spaces earlier when we were discussing, the Twitter files dropped today, it was insane. I mean, to be the host of a space and be muted from some sort of other place. I've never seen that before in 2 years of hosting spaces. So I don't know how it was happening. Every time I would unmute, I was muted and it was alerting me at the top that I had been muted, which is the same that anyone who's a speaker in a space could see if they were being muted by the host. So I was being muted by, I don't know, God himself. I have no idea, but it was pretty wild. I've never witnessed anything like it. So, but it's an important thing and an important topic. And I think Elon is doing his best to kind of, take chunks out of all of these different things. And then with this stuff going on with Twitter Spaces, he actually responded just moments ago saying that he's looking into what was happening earlier. So he's on the ball. He hears us. He listens to us, which is just amazing when you compare that to, the people who were in charge prior and all of Twitter's. There was no response. There was no, it was just whatever. And then not to mention, all of the child exploitation stuff that Eliza's been working on getting off of here for years, and just no one cared. No one wanted to do anything about anything that mattered. In the meantime, you find out that all of these FBI agents working for Twitter were so busy suppressing good people, suppressing their voices, censoring people, getting them removed, getting people like Tracy removed from the platform, getting our own sitting president, Donald Trump, removed from the platform, rather than these horrible people doing horrible things on this platform. It's too much, to sit here and act like that isn't what was happening. I'm not the type of person that I'm like you, Tracy. I don't like to keep my mouth shut. And, a lot of people would maybe prefer that. Maybe that's what's going on with my account today. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to shut up. So, I mean, I guess unless they suspend me next, I'll be here screaming on my soapbox. So welcome. And anyone else who wants to, feel free to come up and join the conversation.
Hey, Tara.
Hi, Tara. Sorry.
One thing I've been wanting to ask you for quite some time is, do you have an opinion or have you heard anything in terms of Twitter changing the pipelines and the data feeds that they have to outside data miners that Matt had identified or other agencies? And do you think that kind of outflow and those pipelines will change? And will that create a battle ahead?
I don't have information on that. I'm not sure if other people might. I don't know, I almost feel like we would need someone who is actually working at Twitter to be able to even share that with us.
Okay, thanks. That's something, that I think, if policy is going to change and surveillance is going to change, I think a big step will be changing the flow of information to and from Twitter. And I wonder, when that's going to happen and what the repercussions of that will be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I do have this fear that there is some remote stuff happening with people who still have kind of like keys to the vehicle here and are able to do things and access Twitter and stop us and, shadow ban and do all of these crazy things. I've been shadow banned multiple times, even just since Elon took over. So has Ian, who Elon responds to often. So I definitely don't think it's coming directly from Elon. I think it's, either some sort of weird system where it's automatically doing things to people's accounts, or worse, and there's some kind of nefarious thing happening with someone who, like I said, still has like the keys remotely or within Twitter. I don't know, so it's difficult to say. Let's go to Feds really quick, and then we'll jump from there.
Hey, thanks. So funny story. I jumped out of that panel with Kim.com because I got demoted off the panel and then I couldn't get back on. So I jumped over to Dr. Drew's space. And as soon as I got promoted to speaker, all my comms went down. So I missed my spot with Dr. Drew. And so I've been listening, just jumped in over here. So I appreciate you giving us the time to speak about what we do. But for those of you who don't know us or haven't heard about us, we are the lead plaintiff in the Fifth Circuit for all federal employees. We range from every single government agency across the board. We are currently awaiting a rehearing within our case that we filed in September. So it's been about three and a half months now. Yesterday, for those, if you're not aware, the Fifth Circuit, which is where we're at, it wasn't a ruling, but they came down with a favorable opinion, if you want to call it that, where they basically supported the mandates for the federal contractors to be illegal. So that was some good news. So that kind of maybe foreshadows how our case is going to end up. But yeah, we appreciate having the chance to speak. We also do FOIAs. We got a FOIA back yesterday from the State Department. We've basically been FOIAing on a variety of topics. One is censorship of our organization on social media, anything like that. The State Department basically came back and said that they cannot process our request till 2025. So we find it kind of laughable. And I say it's laughable because, they're blaming the COVID pandemic for it. And, when COVID hit, they sent a lot of people home to telework. And one of those responsibilities when you telework was to process FOIAs. So not only, to me, they had extra manpower to process the FOIAs, but yet somehow there's going to be a 3-year delay in providing us that information. So I just wanted to point that out. I think it's it would be funny if it wasn't so sad, but, it's just what we're seeing across in the government. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming up here and sharing. I think, this is the beautiful thing about Twitter Spaces. So to have this kind of tampered with and messed with today is just another example of the level that and the extent that they'll go to silence people like you who are doing the real work. So just please keep it up. Do not give up. If you're having issues with Twitter Spaces, it can be the platform, but it can also be your device. So my first go-to is to always force stop the app, clear the cache, and reset my phone, make sure there's no updates, restart my phone. And then a lot of times that does fix the glitches, especially if you're going from a large space to another large space. It can cause some weird issues. So it could be a Twitter issue. It could also not be a Twitter issue, and a device, connectivity issue as well.
Well, the appearance of everything that's been going on with the censorship, the mandates, everything, people have lost trust in the establishments, right? And so, like you're saying, it could be Twitter, it could be somebody acting nefariously, but everybody's trust has just been evaporated. And so it's causing more distrust in the establishments. And that's and that's something that we want to fix. We want more transparency. That's why we appreciate what Elon's doing with the Twitter files and all that stuff. So I just wanted to add that.
So I just want to announce really quick, because I'm just seeing this, that Elon tweeted around 10 minutes ago in response to his poll that a lot of people were claiming or assuming or thinking that the poll, asking if he should step down as head of Twitter was botted. I still believe it was, especially after today. I think that was just more proof. But he did tweet just moments ago saying SEO as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take the job. After that, I will just run the software and servers teams.
I actually already
And that makes
replied
me
to
sad.
that, Tara. I told him that you, Ian, and Kim and I are forming a blockade around Twitter HQ and not letting him leave the building.
Sphinx, I was listening to your space earlier when you were talking about listening to people's conversations instead of judging for who they are. And you mentioned how in marketing you remove people's names and get people to, read a statement, and then whether or not you agree with that statement, you'd be surprised people will agree with statements from people that they don't like at all. And there have been like numerous man on the street sort of interviews where kind of guerrilla journalists, for lack of a better word, will do that to people. They'll say, hey, here's a statement that so-and-so said. And they'll ask the person if they agree with it, and the person will say yes. And then they'll say, actually, this person said it. So I just loved listening to you speak about that. I thought it was really, really, interesting and poignant, and I wanted to let you know since you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, that's something that, I do one of the things I do is crisis management, and you sort of, people call you when they're, when they kind of shit hits the fan, right? But when I'm not doing that, the clients that I meet they're doing that, end up, sort of hiring us to do this kind of research. And I found this out, that even if you take a debate between two people, and even if you can remove the names, but there are all kinds of different things you can do. You can even change the names, like reverse the names, like put the names of the one person, flip what they said, put the name of the other person, and then people will still agree with the person whose side they're on. And then you tell them afterward, you say, but we switched the names. Your guy said all of that. Your guy said all of this. And they just spent like an hour arguing for what they think their person believes and debated. And when we tell them, they're like shocked. And it's really eye-opening, because we tell them, we say, you gotta look into things, and you gotta fight for the principles, not the personalities, because if it makes sense, it should make sense no matter who's saying it, right? Thank you so much, Tracy.
Awesome. It's so true. I love it. Thank you. It's great. I would love to I'm going to become a Sphinx fangirl and just listen to you all the time now, because you had me like glued. I'm like, can she keep talking, please? Just let her keep talking.
I was going to say Sphinx is one of the most underrated Twitter Spaces queens. Like, she is amazing. She drops some heaters. She doesn't hog the mic. She she says what needs to be said, and then that's it. And it's amazing. And I think, I don't know, Sphinx, you get so underrated. That's why whenever I see you in my spaces, it's immediate, like, oh, get you up here. And then I notice in other spaces, they'll let you up and then drop you. And I'm like, nope, okay, I'm leaving. I wanted to hear what Sphinx had to say.
You can tell, and I'm not talking about you like you're not here. I'm just going to share my opinion. I can tell she has a wealth of experience that I could benefit from listening to. Like, you can just tell from how she speaks about what she speaks about. She's cultured. She has a lot of experience with all different kinds of people. She's very well versed in her career. Like, you could just automatically tell that you would be somebody that everybody could benefit from listening to more. So I'm now, a big fan, and I only heard you for about 20 minutes. Just letting you know.
Thank you. And I'm just so glad that this space is recorded, so I can just listen to this over and over every day.
Positive affirmations. Hey, clip it. honestly, you deserve it, Sphinx, and you don't hear it enough. So I appreciate you saying it, Tracy. I'm thinking it, and you say it out loud. So appreciated. Things get so hectic up here. I do want to go. Sphinx, can you jump in a co-host spot for me? That would be amazing if you can.
Sure, I just accept it if it'll let me.
Then, because I know you're good at keeping track of the hands a lot better than I am. So I think it was maybe Crypto Lawyer next, I think.
Hey, Tara, what's up? How are you tonight?
Wonderful. How you doing?
Good, good. Great to see you. Just wanted to say hi to everyone. Hope all is doing well. And yes, I sent a DM to Catcher. Don't know if he'll make it or not. But yeah, I'm glad that the accounts are coming back. Hope everyone has a great Christmas. Holiday season. And I wouldn't, I'd be remiss if I didn't say hi to my guy, Sir Major. He's here tonight. Just wanted to ask him how he's doing with his federal cases, siphoning off money from BLM, being exposed in a fraudulent case. So Sir Major's here. He has me blocked. I can't talk to him usually, but he can hear me tonight. So BLM fraud, federal cases. What's up, Sir Major? You going to jail or what, bro? Let's hear it.
Well, that
Sir Major's up here. Okay,
went
wait.
sideways quickly.
Sir, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, he doesn't even
No.
want to respond. He asked to debate me. I said he could. Then he said no. Then he told me to debate Tariq. I did debate Tariq. Tariq got handed to it. Tariq kicked me out of his own space. He got embarrassed. And Sir Major won't talk to me. He has me blocked. He can't debate me. He's sitting over there with federal charges. He's a BLM fraud. He's an FBA fraud. And I'm glad this is being recorded because he has federal charges. So that's it. Good night, everyone.
If all that's true, I wonder why we have him on speakership.
It's all true. It's all very true.
All right, Tara, can I speak now, Tara?
It's all true. Just go ahead and Google Sir
Yes,
Major.
please do.
All right, all right, so thank you. Thanks for letting me speak. Tara, so this is a guy who is, in fact, anti-black, and he's a known racist on the app. He's been trolling and harassing black activists, black religious leaders like Talbert Swan, Brother Tariq Nasheed, and this guy's an internet troll. He won't release his identity because he's on here harassing black folks all day, and he won't get the time of day from me.
How many buildings did you burn down?
Hold on, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to.
I can't hear anything. Can anyone else?
No, I couldn't hear after the same thing he always says about me, that I'm former DOJ. I'm a white supremacist. You guys know me. I have spaces every night, 2-3 times in the night. I'm not anti-black. I'm anti-fraud.
Hey, Crypto, I just want to chip in 1 second on what you said. I mean, he doesn't really have a point. Black Lives Matter caused 574 riots that injured thousands of cops with bricks,
Exactly.
rocks, Molotov cocktails, caused billions of property damage and killed dozens. Not only that, they also burned down multiple churches. And then the same organization also proceeded to place bounties on this heads of Supreme Court justices after an overturning they didn't like. So those are the kind of people you're dealing with. So I wouldn't spend much time on them.
I don't. I just happened to come into Tara's space, and Sir Major was here tonight, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Tara, I love you. Tracy, great to see you. Sphinx, good to see you. Ian, I'm going to give you a follow. Thank you so much. I'm going to bounce out now. Just wanted to talk to my guy a little bit. Thanks, guys.
I think he left. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of these spaces is people do know each other and they do watch each other. So, I mean, I would rather not support whatever that is that's going on. That's for sure. This space is about accounts that, were wrongfully suspended, who have been brought back. And I kind of want to stick to that topic. I think it was Busy Brands next, and then we'll go to you, Miles.
Hey, Tara, can you hear me?
Thanks.
Yeah, I can hear you.
How are you? I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
I know that everybody's in good hands here. If you don't know me, Tara started with the AMC community. She has grown. So I was talking to Al from Boston and Spence the other day, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm so proud of what she's doing over there. So kudos to you.
Yeah, most people in here probably don't even know what you're talking about, but yeah, it was back when the whole Wall Street scandal stuff happened, and I was one of the loud voices that, again, stood up on my soapbox. But yeah, thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it.
No problem. I come to your support anytime. Yeah, I've been noticing. Yes, I don't know if you've seen me. I've been co-hosting some of those space calls with the MMTLP saga, and yeah, I was having glitches. Like it was booting me off. Um, I had a request as code fraud hashtag out. Then we started getting a whole bunch of stuff happening in the calls. So just show my
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that there are still channels that they're using to sort of blockade certain topics and discussions from happening. And I think it is a major issue. And like Ravi brought up, the shadow banning, it's not just suspending accounts. Sometimes you can have your account still here, but you're completely ghost banned, shadow banned, and just, it's like having a brick wall in front of you. You can't get past it. You can't get seen. You can't get heard. Your comments are hidden down in a show more, and even sometimes another section below that where it's like abusive behavior. And a lot of times I click that just to find out who is stuck in those shadow ban like shackles, and I'll go follow them just so I don't miss their comments, because it's so frustrating to be there. And I've been there. I've been at the bottom. I've been completely suppressed, completely censored, had my first account suspended. And that's mainly why I wanted to do this space, was to kind of give a stage to those people, people like Tracy, people who had their voices taken away. I mean, and especially people who use Twitter. Donald Trump is the best example, because he used Twitter to communicate with the world, the country, and all of his supporters, and then to just be completely removed. And the things that they don't talk about is they shut down access to his email. I mean, they went further than just Twitter. All we get to hear about are the Twitter files and the extent they went to here, but it was a lot deeper, and obviously, there was so much collusion going on with across the board. It wasn't just Twitter.
The thing that got me the other day too was talking about when we had we had a journalist space where there were journalists from the left and the right about censorship, and they were all freaking out. Like, I read this Substack from Aaron Rupar where he was talking about how all of a sudden in less than a minute, his entire following he'd built up was gone. They just took it away from him, and how terrible it was. And I'm like, lived it, buddy. Had to reinvent everything from the ground up just to try and get news out to people. Like, it's good that these people get a teeny bit of a taste of their own medicine at this point in my life.
Absolutely. That was the funniest thing to watch. The same people who were pushing for censorship and totally okay with it and laughing about it, laughing about our own president getting suspended, are the same people crying and saying, wait, what happened to free speech? It's like, wait a minute. Oh, now you support free speech. Oh, okay. We see how this works. It's totally a dose of their own medicine. And I think more people could use it. I mean, how long did it take? I think like most of those accounts were brought back 24 hours later.
Yeah, try like 700 and something days. It was terrible. Like, no matter how many times you condition people to go to alternative platforms, right? Like, because, there are alternative platforms that have been lovely and wonderful to have. Like, if they weren't there, it would have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I'm still posting on all of them, because now I spend the time I'm not reading and researching, replying, because I'm one of those people. I like talking to everybody, Tara. I see you do the same thing. I'm one of those people that like responds to my comments and responds to like every comment everywhere that I people asking questions and all kinds of stuff. So like, I've been so busy because I'm on 3 or 4 different platforms doing that all day long now, just responding to things that I post about. But this was the way that a lot of people made their living, myself included. Like, I didn't make my living off of Twitter, but I made my living giving information to people on Twitter. One of the main platforms that I used, and they just took it away. Like, and then they just left people, and you can't condition people to leave no matter how hard you try. This place is addictive, as you know.
Very, very addictive. Very addictive. Every time I'm like, okay, today I'm taking a break. I'm going to do other things. I'm going to have a life. I'm going to go to the gym. It just gets overwhelming. And there's so much happening every single day. There's something new happening that I just have to digest all of it. I can't get away. It's crazy. Hopefully Christmas, everyone will take a break from Twitter, but I feel like we'll all still be here. It's so crazy.
We'll be at Christmas dinner wishing
On Spaces.
Sorry, guys, I'm just about to lose service, so I'm going to lose Mike. Tara, I tagged you in a thing that I got today about a blue Twitter tick. If you have a look in your WhatsApps, you'll see it. I don't know if it's the real thing or a fake. So, yeah, okay, I'm jumping off because I'm about to lose service.
Okay, thank you, David. I appreciate it. I think Miles was waiting to go next, so go for it, Miles.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Or is that Miles? Oh, wait, was that Miles?
Yeah, that was me. Sorry,
Oh my gosh, I thought it, okay, I was like, that doesn't sound like David. Is he doing a prank like Australian accent? But okay, I got you. It said David was speaking.
I'm
Whoops.
sorry.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Miles.
I was
I'll check
really
DMs with you.
confused, Tara. 'Cause
Yeah, and I was looking
I
at
wasn't
David.
looking at my phone, and I was like, "That's not David's." There's like a.
I was looking for David's DM. I'm like, I don't see what you're talking about, but okay. Hi, David.
Tara, sorry guys, Tara, I'll re-ask. I'm going to have to leave the space, but I'll re-ask for the mic when I get out of this area where I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll go to David then. Can you hear me, David?
Me?
Yeah, were you waiting to say something?
Oh, I didn't have my hand raised.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I thought your mic was unmuted, but maybe it's just saying that it is. It's all good. Sorry about that. Okay, I think Tino then.
Hey, Tara, thanks for letting me speak for a bit. I just wanted to say something that would sing graphic videos of torturing people, and our president got banned. That shouldn't sit well with you at all. I don't care who you are as an American citizen.
The same can be said for all the child exploitation videos that were on Twitter that were not being dealt with.
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to share a story. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I have no idea what happened after the fact of me being involved in it. But and I want to go back to one of our lawsuits where the DOJ lawyer in his filing of the court documents said something to the effect of not a single plaintiff in this lawsuit could prove that they were, I believe the word he used was vital to the federal service, something of that nature. All right. And I want to go back to about 2016, 2017 or so. I had a girl that was coming in. She was about 16 years old. All right. She was a lawful permanent resident. She was traveling alone. She was I believe, if I remember correctly, she was a Cuban national that had possibly gotten like refugee status or whatever. And so she had the green card because of that. She was traveling back from Cuba, and it was a very routine thing, right? It was just, she wasn't suspected of doing anything illegal. She just got sent back to the secondary office because she was a refugee. And I just asked her a couple, like 2 or 3 questions, I think. And I was like, who are you traveling with? And she's like, I'm alone. And I said, okay, well, who's picking you up? And she said, maybe like my uncle or something like that. And I was like, okay. And I asked her a couple questions, and I somehow had the sense that something was off. So I asked her, I said, would you like to go around the corner and speak privately? And she said, yes. So I took her to the back corner, started asking her some questions. And she basically told me that, I can't remember if it was her uncle or her father, or whoever the person was that was coming to pick her up had been molesting her, right? And till this day, I eventually ended up passing it off to the Metro Police. They brought in the father and the guy that was coming to pick them up. They questioned them separately. I wasn't involved. Never heard anything back. What happened to that? But I find it extremely insulting to say that we as federal employees, and I know a lot of people don't like federal employees. I get it. I understand why. But to tell us that we're not vital, and then to have an experience like that where I could have possibly saved a little girl from some kind of torture that she was going through, is extremely important, right? And we're sitting here seeing that they're focused on censoring regular people instead of actual real world problems that they should be dealing with. I think we can all say that it's unethical to censor and shadow ban people. It's almost cowardly to shadow ban somebody. Tell me why I can't be on your platform, right? Instead of doing it behind my back. When you do it behind somebody's back, and you can't have an open dialogue about it, it ultimately seems nefarious, right? Malicious. So, you know, that's all I'll say about that. But I just think it's cowardly to shadow ban and to be dealing
Yeah,
with people.
Feds, I've been shadow banned so many times I honestly can't count. I've been banned 7 times on TikTok. I've been banned like 3 or 4 times on Instagram. I'm permanently banned from using YouTube. So I know a lot about censorship because I've been censored many times. Keep in mind, I don't post anything graphic. I just talk about politics and I get shut down and banned, which is fine. But I think this is an important thing. And Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri brought it up. I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to censorship and government agencies being involved in what Americans hear, listen to, and speak about when it comes to politics. Because I think if we really went deep dived into what TikTok is doing, I mean, I think TikTok is about 1,000 times worse than what Twitter's doing because TikTok has direct involvement with the CCP. And I think that if we really took a deep dive and involved with what YouTube, TikTok, Google, and what these other platforms are doing, I think it's 10 times worse. But once again, I praise Elon Musk. I'm a huge supporter of him. I think what he's doing is phenomenal. I thank Tara and Kim, and I've been on multiple of these different spaces talking about these things, but I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg, and I think we're going to see more and more information come out, and if we ever get to the point, I would love to see what comes out of TikTok, because I swear that app is just full of a bunch of things that are not good, and I wish, we could do an investigation on TikTok.
Well, and like, really, what platform is the most egregious censorship happening on?
TikTok. So
like,
I've been.
I want to bring up an example. So when, I can't remember which Twitter files it was, but when the Jim Baker thing got announced, if you went over to Google and typed in Jim Baker Twitter files, or was it Jim Baker, Elon Musk, or whatever it was, no search would come up on Google. Then you go over and you use Brave browser or DuckDuckGo, right? And you type in Jim Baker Twitter files and everything pops up. So I'm not arguing. I'm just posing the question of who, what platform is actually being the most egregious with their censorship. I think we could have an argument for maybe almost every platform could be the worst, but they're all in the same boat. And what I find funny is that didn't Jack Dorsey say that they were not working with Google and Facebook in one of his depositions? And then what we keep seeing on multiple Twitter files now is the involvement. I can't remember what it was, and I think it was, excuse me, in Twitter file 7, right? I think at one point Yoel Roth or somebody had emailed the FBI stating their cooperation with Facebook. So they keep contradicting themselves in these Twitter files from what they said in their depositions.
Yeah, and Jack Dorsey also lied about shadow banning, and I mean, so many people. I know Charlie's been shadow banned. I know Tara's been shadow banned. I've been shadow banned. Ian Miles on these other spaces has been shadow banned. Countless other people have been shadow banned. So he also lied about that.
I have to
Yeah,
keep on.
Laura Loomer called him out hardcore. I don't know if you guys have seen that video of her calling him out when he was just straight up lying about shadow bans and suspensions. It's an amazing clip. It's pinned to her profile. It's Laura Loomer if anyone wants to go check it out.
I keep on bringing this up in every single space that I can, and I even did my own yesterday about it because a lot of people aren't talking about it. It's the Missouri v. Biden case. Usually when stuff like this happens with censorship, where we learn something, we wait for some congressman to write some sternly worded letters and send them off and hope that everything goes well. And it never does because they never do anything. But there's a court case ongoing right now where the attorney generals of Missouri and Louisiana and a number of other plaintiffs are suing the federal government for this very thing. And so they got Elvis Chan's name from Facebook in, kind of like subpoena. They subpoenaed Facebook, and it was a back and forth and all kinds of other stuff. And Facebook provided Elvis Chan's name via conversation in that case. And so they asked to depose him. And oh boy, did they kick and scream. So I just retweeted something from Schmidt's office. They sent a letter over to Twitter because in the Twitter files, some of the information that's being released was not provided to them during the document production stage of things for this temporary injunction they're looking for right now, and etc. So they're under the thumb of two states' AG's office right now at Twitter to give them, documentation about their preservation records, what they did with the documents that they had, what was deleted, what wasn't, and why things weren't produced in response to the subpoena that was lawfully granted by the court in Louisiana. That case is a juggernaut. Usually, as many of you could probably attest to, these kinds of lawsuits get paused and thrown out and appealed and whatever. But this one, every step of the way through mandamus petition and through everything, the judges have been kicking it back to Louisiana and saying, we're not going to dismiss this. We're not going to grant your motion to quash. We're not going to grant your motion to dismiss. This has to keep going. And it literally is directly tied to what we're getting from the reporters covering the Twitter files. So it's a really important case.
And hey, to add on to that, I want to add something very important. In order to depose a government official, it's very difficult. You have to go through two separate doctrines. I don't recall both of them. I know one of them is called the Apex Doctrine. Basically, you can't just sit there and sue and depose government officials because I'll be quite frank, the higher ups have a very important job to do, whether you like it or not, right? So they have to go through the Apex Doctrine, which means that you can't just sit there and depose people, whatever. Then they also ask the court to expedite those depositions, and that also was ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, correct? And so they not only had it was a tall task to get that done, and the court issued in the favor of the plaintiffs. So that law.
Yes, and it survived an appeal. Understand, like the Fifth Circuit kicked it back to the Louisiana judge, refused to rule on it themselves, okay, and said, Judge, can you please have another look at this and see if there's somebody besides Easterly and Murphy and some of these other folks like Jen Psaki they wanted to quash under those same reasons that you're talking about. Jen Psaki took it to a Virginia court thinking she'd be able to have her way in D.C. And that judge smacked down Jeannie Rhee. Jeannie Rhee, of all attorneys in the world, like if you don't know her name, just stick it in the search engine. She was special counsel Mueller's high-level attorney. She went after a whole bunch of the people in that case. She was Obama's fixer, and he basically made her sit down and shut up. I mean, it was something else. And so then the court kicks it back and says, here, see if you can't find someone else because, it is so rare, like he was mentioning. What's your name? I'm so sorry. I don't know your name.
My name's Brian.
Yep. Okay, Brian, sorry. So Brian was mentioning how difficult it is to get to depose anybody at a high level of anything. And they did that, and the judge ruled yes on some and then replacements on others, with a caveat that if they don't produce the documentation and or don't tell everybody what they want to hear the right way, that they'll bring in their superiors immediately. This case is really something else. It really is. I'm not exaggerating.
And what is, abhorrent to me is that Jen Psaki thinks that she can, snake her way out of deposition using those doctrines and all that. She's not even an employee anymore. She's working for what? BC?
She said yes, and she said that it would be too burdensome for her to prepare for testimony, while at the same time arguing she had nothing to testify to. So the judge literally called her out on that and said, "Well, I don't understand this. What's too burdensome if you have nothing to provide?"
And to get smacked down in DC, trust us, we have 3 lawsuits. We have a lawsuit that was filed in October of 2021, before the mandate actually went into effect. We essentially we went through some ups and downs, getting the nationwide injunction and then getting it vacated. And then they didn't take it away from us. They let us hold the injunction in place while we were appealing the case, which then led us to file for an en banc hearing, which is like super rare, very rare, like 1 in 600 cases get heard, similar to the Supreme Court. That got approved. And that's where we're at right now in that 5th Circuit. So I'll drop a video below. It's pinned on if you go to our site, it's pinned there. But we actually traveled, all the founders of our organization, and a big handful of the leadership of our group, and also some of our just regular members actually flew down to New Orleans and heard the case in New Orleans at the 5th Circuit. So it was very surreal to sit there and actually hear. I mean, we've listened to the courts before argue cases, but it was very surreal to sit in the chambers and see your lawyers, the DOJ lawyers, and all. If you don't know what an en banc hearing is, all the active members on the judge panel hear the case. So in our case, we had 17 judges sitting in there asking questions about or whatever they wanted to talk about in regards to the arguments, and it was an amazing thing to experience. But like I said, our case is in the 5th Circuit where that case is being heard.
Hey, Fed, really quick. I am so honored to be able to speak here. I am so thankful for all the work that Tracy and Tara has been doing on Twitter. And I just want to hop in here really quick, just say that because you two are brilliant, and I wish Tara, I wish Musk could stay a little bit longer. He's doing amazing, and I am so excited. And thank you for all everybody is doing here at Twitter. It's been so much better than anything. So keep strong, everyone. And again, thank you for allowing me to come here and speak for a couple of minutes. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
I really
I
appreciate it.
was go ahead, sweetie.
I so appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was really awesome. I just wanted to say, it shows that we should have 2 spots open on the stage, but I can't bring any more people up. Just letting you know, Tara. But I'm checking it.
Yeah, thank you so much. It could be just a glitch on I don't even know. These things are so weird. It's wild.
Hey, Tara, how did it feel to actually be weren't you in the Twitter space with Elon?
Yeah, I hosted the Twitter space with Elon. That's pinned in my profile. It feels cool because it's like he's a human being and he's treated like he's some kind of deity or god or something, and not even human. Or there's all kinds of rumors like he's a clone, he's a robot, he's all these different things. No, he's actually really just a human. He fumbles his words. He, I don't know. He's very much human, like all of us, and it's interesting to actually be, voice to voice with him in that kind of setting, and just kind of speaking off the record and off the cuff, and just hearing how realistic he is, because I Honestly, I came to Twitter because of Elon Musk. When I first came to Twitter, I hated Twitter. I thought it was horrible, but I wanted to be able to communicate with him the issues that I saw in Wall Street with, the illegal naked short selling, things that they do to Tesla, things that they do to a lot of companies to just destroy them and get rid of any opportunity for them to thrive. And the government is very much involved in that. That's what brought me to Twitter in the first place, was him tweeting out about shorts 2 years ago, or I think maybe 2.5 years ago now or so. And then when I got the ability to host Twitter Spaces, I was one of the first people, for whatever reason, to have that ability as like a trial run. And I had a major fear of public speaking. I was so afraid. I didn't think I could do it. I happened to go to a Twitter Space and listen in, and there were 10,000 people, and they freaked out when he came in as a listener. And right then I knew, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to man up, woman up, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to host a space with Elon Musk. And that's the goal. And I told people initially when I first started doing spaces, I said, the goal is to get in communication with Elon Musk about everything that's wrong with Twitter, everything that's wrong with our world, the things that are happening, the things they do to companies, specifically his companies, are wrong. And they use platforms like Twitter to do it, and they shut down and get rid of certain hashtags from trending and do all of this stuff. And I felt like a crazy person at the time, but I knew he would be the one who would actually listen and not treat me like I was one. And now to have this all happening, it feels honestly surreal. It doesn't feel like it's even really happening because that was my initial goal in the first place. And when all of this went down with the Twitter files, and is still currently going down with the Twitter files, I really realized, like, this is big. This is huge. Sorry, dogs barking.
No, and I bring that up because, Natalia comes in and says, hey, thank you for just giving me a couple minutes. Well, the same thing for me applies to you, Tara, is we were not on Twitter. I think, on Instagram, we have about 8,000-9,000 followers. That's like our biggest social media platform. We do not get any type of press, right? We have press. We have a PR team. We were supposed to go on Tucker Carlson twice. I mentioned this last time, when we got dropped when the Kyle Rittenhouse decision came. Then we got dropped for Kanye West. And so I think the biggest platform that we've had was we were on Fox News with Griff Jenkins, I think, for a couple minutes in a video, basically with a couple other organizations that we are close to. And so we haven't been provided that platform. We've been trying to kind of build this platform, with boots on the ground, no corporate donations, no corporate sponsors, anything like that. It's just been, federal employees and, maybe family members of federal employees and supporters of what we're doing, and maybe the vaccine mandates and all that. And, then, we get into a space with you, and, we raise our hand, and whether it's me or another board member that's on the account, you gave us that platform, and we appreciate it. And I think, everybody that gets a moment, even if it's for, to remain on the panel as a co-host, a speaker, or just 5 seconds, that's the beauty of Twitter right now. And I can't name another place where you can do that from. So, again, Tara, we appreciate you and love what you're doing here. So thank you.
Hey,
Tara, could I speak?
Real quick, I'm just going to jump off. So I just wanted to say thank you guys all so much for being here tonight. Tara, thank you so much for hosting this and having me co-host it. It's been great to meet all you guys, and I feel like there's a lot of friendships being built and a lot of networking being done, and I'm really excited to continue doing that with everyone. So God bless you all, and we will talk very
Tracy,
soon.
don't leave.
Okay?
I want you to hear what I have to say, please.
Okay, I'll listen. I'll stay on and listen for another minute.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, thank you so
And
much.
really
Appreciate
quick, guys, really quick, just make sure you guys drop Tracy a follow. Make sure you guys turn on alerts for her. Chime in on her tweets. She does respond. She's amazing. Just an amazing person. So please, please, please. She was the one who I initially went to, who I wanted her to be platformed. I want her to feel like she belongs in a place where she was wrongfully suspended and kicked out of, and it's just so unfair. She has almost over 500,000 followers. She's an important figure and an important voice here. So just remember to make her feel that way every day. Respond to her and chime in on her tweets. Okay, go ahead. Is it Sir? Is that who is waiting to speak?
Sir Major's my name. Yes, ma'am. Sir Major. Tara, appreciate the space. Love what you've been doing, you, Kim, and others. And shout outs to Tracy for making it back over here. I'm completely against censorship and violating people's constitutional rights. I didn't expect to get that sort of introduction, but I got heads up by Crypto that he was going to do that. He actually messaged me on the back end. I had this guy blocked for some time. Just really quickly about this whole Crypto thing, because he did put it out there. I'm a well-known black activist. I do a lot of high-profile police brutality cases and cases surrounding racism and anti-blackness. I work with the attorney Benjamin Crump and some other attorneys out there. With that said, this Crypto guy, I don't really know much about him. I do know he's a former federal prosecutor. He has been trying to get me to co-host a space with him. And so I guess I don't know if he can score political points. I'm not sure, but I refuse to do the space.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw a laugh emoji. I apologize.
No,
Hey,
it's
sir,
okay.
can I
I'm
ask you
used
a
to it.
question real
Well,
quick?
hold on. I'm speaking, Ian. Have some respect, please. Thank you.
Well,
So,
yeah.
he's been doing a lot of. Please have some respect. Thank you. So he's been doing a lot of anti-blackness, trolling black religious leaders that are respected in the black community, such as Bishop Talbert Swan, Brother Tariq, and others. So he goes into black spaces and he trolls black people. And because I did not know his identity, his name, I didn't feel it. And I told him in a message, I said, listen, I don't feel in good faith that I can bring you around the black community and do a space with you if I don't even know who you are. So he wanted to conceal his identity, and I've been watching him from afar. He's been trolling black folks, so I chose not to engage with this guy. I've been in some spaces on a burner account listening to some of his anti-black tropes, and when he talked about the criminal charges, it is no secret that I have been indicted on federal charges, right? And the idea, check this out, Tara, the idea that a lawyer, a former federal prosecutor, someone who still works in government, to would put out this narrative that someone, because that they have been indicted or arrested, that they're guilty. I thought we lived in the America, Tara, that you are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. That's where we read in our Constitution, right? That's somewhere I read that. However, it is not true when it's not palatable. Now, the same very people that identify with Crypto, Roger Stone, who was on this app, he has been convicted. He's been indicted. But somehow Roger Stone is to be held as a hero. Many people that are January 6ers who have been arrested and indicted, these are people that he wanted to defend. So on one hand, we make the argument that you're innocent until proven guilty. And then on the other hand, you want to say that because this black activist was accused of something, automatically we believe it. So you
Well, do
can't
you
advocate
support the
for either.
574
I'm
Black
not,
Lives Matter
sir,
riots that
sir,
ended
I'm not
thousands
talking
of
to you.
cops
I'm
with
not
bricks,
talking to you.
rocks,
You
and
want
Molotov
So
you wanted me to hear what you were saying, so I'm gonna respond. I agree with you. I don't know you at all. I have no idea what you are indicted for. I don't know what the beef is between you guys. I have zero idea. I know offhand personally, and I'm very close friends with people that were wrongfully indicted based on a shit ton of lies, and it's the most horrible thing that could ever happen to you in this country. You are innocent until you are proven guilty in a court of law. And even after you're proven guilty in a court of law, Sir Major, that doesn't necessarily even mean you're guilty either. And I think we can all agree on that from
thank
any
you.
side of the aisle. I probably disagree with you politically on literally every single thing you could ever say for the most part, but that
You don't
doesn't
know my
mean that
views.
I don't, but from what everyone else is saying, I can
And
just
I
assume
Tracy,
that
I think we agree on a lot of stuff.
well, maybe we do. And I think that's a place we need to get to. We really need to get there. And perhaps this is an opportunity for everyone to start doing that. So I wish you the best in your fight. It's not easy to fight a federal indictment. And if you truly are innocent, you're going to need a lot of help and a lot of support. And so I will look at your case and see what I can see, because that's my thing. I'm legal. And none of us here, I think I speak at least for me. I'm not going to speak for everyone. But in my case, I don't agree with police brutality, whether it's on a black, white, purple, green, blue, or yellow person. I don't agree with wrongful arrest and conviction, whether you're Chinese, African American, Spanish, Hispanic, whatever. It doesn't matter. Justice is justice. So I really do have to go, but I love you guys. And sir, good luck.
Amen.
Okay. It was good to meet you.
It
Thank
was
you so
nice to
much,
meet you,
Tracy.
Tracy.
Thank you,
And I just
Tracy.
want to say that is the person you want on your team. The person who says, I may disagree with everything you believe in, but I heard what you said and I agree with you. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so I
just
had a
wanted to
question for
say
the panel.
I actually really quick was going to tweet this out earlier and I kind of forgot, was just a question, broad question of how many people were actually convicted of an insurrection from the January 6th trials.
0. I'm
Tons.
not sure, but I did have a question for the panel in terms of trust and safety. If I could just be allotted that time, I just wanted to quick. I
Well, I
wasn't able
just
to
wanted to
respond to
point
that
out
guy, but
that you said, the whole innocent until proven guilty thing, but then you threw that out there.
yeah,
And I just want to say that those same
yeah.
people have been deemed guilty of something and held in jail for, I think it's been a very long time now without being proven guilty. So, I mean, I think it would be important to show the same compassion that you expect to receive in a space like this, especially, with the compassion Tracy just showed you, even though she knows she would probably disagree with you politically, the human aspect needs to come into play there. And those people have been wrongfully
Well, I
held
was. That.
and they were not convicted of an insurrection, which is what they've been held on. So I think it's important to recognize that and have that same compassion, whether you agree with people politically or not.
Well, so I didn't weigh in on my political stance on that. There were people that were convicted and sentenced for their role in January 6th. So let's not paint the narrative that folks have not been convicted. And I do agree with Tracy that just because you are convicted doesn't necessarily mean you actually committed the offense. It could mean that you aided. You can have a jury that's just biased. So I'll land there. But I do want to have a conversation with you about trust and safety on the app. And anyone, I guess, can chime in when it comes to trust and safety. There are many users, I'll speak to my sphere, who are repeatedly being doxxed. Their address is being put out there, and I saw the tweet that Elon and the aggressive move that he took against that. But folks who are being harassed and going through complete hell on the app, right? And Elon did tweet me back the other day, and I kind of went viral for that. But what are your thoughts on trying to have a conversation around revamping the reporting process and being more specific in changing the reporting process? So changing the way in which reports are done and how they're streamlined and things of that nature.
I can speak on that. I deal with reputation management and privacy, so I will tell you this. Even during, 2021, we had full police stations. We had all sorts of different government agencies reach out to us. There's a lot of things that people can do to undox themselves. Unfortunately, we're in an informational era, and everybody's information is everywhere on the internet. So there a lot of times reporters, your information is very easily accessed, but what a lot of people don't know is that it's also easily removed. So it's just a little bit of work, but you have to go on the internet and you have to opt out of all of the different data aggregate sites like Instant Checkmate and Ben Verified, and there's hundreds of them. But if you do that, if you Google yourself, Google your address with your name and different variations of keywords, you can find different sites that has your information, and all of that information, because it's your personal information, they will remove it if you request it.
Hey, David, I have a quick question for Sir Major. I see that he supports reparations. Do you support reparations for those cops that got bricks and Molotov cocktails thrown at those riots?
I'm sorry. What do I support reparations for police officers who what?
Do you support reparations for cops that were injured in the Black Lives Matter riots?
I have not heard of any. I have not seen any Black Lives Matter riot.
Black Lives Matter riots. Did you not
Ian,
see the streets in
are you
Minnesota?
asking about people convicted of harming police officers
No,
during
no,
the
no.
riot?
That's
Okay.
not what I'm asking about.
Okay.
I asked him a question. Does he support the people that caught the? I want to rephrase the question. The people that threw bricks and rocks at cops. Obviously, they weren't convicted because they couldn't see the people or they haven't gone to court yet. but I just want to ask him: does he support throwing bricks at cops?
Hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt. I don't want.
So
Sorry, Major. Tara, I'll be right back. I gotta go organize something, but I'll come back for if you'll.
okay, so in terms
Okay,
of
thank you.
in terms of anyone assaulting police officers, I'm not in support of that. In fact, there was a black police officer out of Mobile, Alabama, who came into a black space that I had the other day, and he's literally telling black activists, "We have the right to beat up police. We have the right to fight police back." And I denounce that rhetoric, that idea. I think it is very dangerous. I think it is very harmful, and it sets people up. And I think that there are people that play on the current political climate for their own political gains, right? And so I'm not in support of that. In terms of
Yeah,
police officers or any individual being made whole because they were subject to being violently attacked or harmed in some way, I think that there's a political process. I think that there's a criminal justice process that law enforcement often know how to use to their advantage, and I think that they should take advantage of it. If someone harms a police officer unjustly and they're being and they're just doing what's wrong, then certainly the police have a right and a recourse to do that. In terms of filing a civil suit against the individual responsible, I'm all for that as well. So yes, I agree.
I'm all for due process. So everything you said there, I agree with to the point. But I just want to make a point real quick. During these riots or whatever you want to call them, there were a lot of stuff that went down that was illegally done. And I think that a lot of people,
Do you have a
we have a
specific case you're referring to so I can
well,
follow along?
let me finish what I was talking about. We have a January 6th committee that goes after people who are just simply showed up at the Capitol, didn't commit a crime, and they're in jail right now. So what about the people that showed up at the Black Lives Matter riots that just stood there while other people committed crimes? Why are they not being put in jail? Why is Kamala Harris allowed to post a bail fund to bail these people out of prison that may have or might not have committed crimes? Why is she allowed to do that?
In a case where there have been people, individuals, I won't call them activists because activists aren't the ones going out causing violent assaults on cops. What we do know that Antifa is real. What we do know that there's COINTELPRO provocateurs. There was a video just shared the other day of a white guy, I forget his name, I think it was Epps. He had a red Trump MAGA hat on, and he's inciting folks to tear down the barricade and instructing people to go into the Capitol. So individuals like that ought to be held to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, Ray Epps has not been held to anything. He's living in Arizona right now in a mansion, or
Well,
probably not a mansion.
well, he ought to be prosecuted. I mean, I don't know how to make it even more simple.
Yeah.
He ought to be
But
prosecuted.
sir, you don't understand. We've tried to get information from the FBI on Ray Epps. We've gotten nothing on Ray Epps. We don't know why they
Because
won't
he's an
release him.
agent, more than likely.
Yes, I agree with you on that completely. 100% agree with you.
And it's called COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is on both sides of the aisle. It's in the black community where agents, the COINTELPRO stands for Counterintelligence Program. It was a program used by the FBI where they targeted black leaders, black organizations, and not just black folks. They targeted white folks. They targeted white organizations, white women's organizations, right? And what they do is they send these agent provocateurs in to gather intel, take it back to the bureau, and then they'll also set people up. So Ray Epps, in my opinion, is a COINTELPRO agent, and that's why you're not getting anything from the federal government.
Yeah, and I think what you see a lot here at the January 6th, I've done 2 January 6th panels. I've talked to people who are literally going to or have been in jail for January 6th. And I've seen videos that they have sent me of them at January 6th. They're not committing crimes. They just show up and they trespass on public property or whatever crime that is, if that is a crime. But they are spending...
To respond to it, yeah, sure. So
yeah,
to respond
okay.
to it, right?
Can I finish my
Those who
point real
just
quick?
showed up, right? Well, you asked, okay.
Okay, sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Those
but I
who
just want to
showed
finish
up.
my point. Okay, so with their
Yeah, go
due
ahead, I'm sorry.
process rights have been completely violated. They're being put in prison for crimes they didn't commit. That's an issue. And I understand what you're talking about. You want to protect your people who you believe that have been wrongfully convicted. I believe that people have been wrongfully convicted for January 6th as well. Yes, there are people January 6th that committed crimes, acts of violence. Yes, but people who just showed up, walked in, didn't damage anything, shouldn't be tried and shouldn't be put in jail for months of crimes that they didn't commit.
I think in cases where, we saw different area views of what happened on January 6th. We saw where police officers were willfully welcoming people in at some point. I think that those who were welcomed in by law enforcement and high-fived, I don't think those folks should be prosecuted. I think it's bullshit, right? When we see people storming the Capitol, knocking over barricades, fighting with law enforcement, and we're talking about those who scream back the blue when it's convenient, I think that those folks ought to be held accountable. I mean, we can't make it any more simpler.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the Black Lives Matter riots. I've made the same point to people as well. People who
You keep saying riots, but yet you have not told me where there was a riot. I'm confused.
What about the burning buildings that were burned down? We've seen the CNN reports of the buildings in the background burned down. That's a riot, sir. That is a riot. Burning down a building is a riot.
What city was this? Because I'm pretty much versed on what
Minnesota.
happened.
You can look up the CNN report. Peaceful protesting. Search it up. It's everywhere. It's a building burning down in the back. You can see it. The CNN reporter. Peaceful protesting. That's not peaceful. Sir.
No, sure. So I will give you, and I would agree with you and stand with you that anyone committing violent acts during protests or at these critical moments ought to be held accountable. What we do know is that COINTELPRO is very viral, like the Ray Epps guy, and we do know that there were folks from Antifa there. Antifa strategically goes to critical incidents, and they cause havoc, right? And so folks ought to be held accountable, and agencies that are harmed ought to be made whole again. And those officers that go through hell like that ought to be made whole. I agree.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't think we're really far off here on what we're saying. All I'm saying is that people that injure cops, I've said this before about the January 6th people as well. I was in the space as well. I told people, listen, if you injured a cop, you caused any violent acts, you should be held accountable at the fullest extent of the law. But I think we're on the somewhat on the same pace.
Let me ask you a couple questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What about the FBI agents and the federal agents that were out there flashing their bags, inciting riots? What are your thoughts on that?
Are you talking about the January 6th? Or are you talking about the...
Yes, on January 6th, yes.
So my opinion on January 6th here, and I'll basically give you a concise rundown. I think that there were groups of people or certain types of people that committed acts of violence during January 6th, but I also think there were a ton of people, majority of the people that were at January 6th, that kind of just walked in and went with the crowd. I think that there was a group of people that got kind of antagonized to just, follow along. And I also believe that Ray Epps, like you said before, is a government informant that, kind of accelerated this. If you remember, Ray Epps whispered to a guy, took about 5 seconds. Ted Cruz explained this in his Senate committee hearing, saying, look, I want to tear down this barricade. 5 seconds later, the barricade's over. Ray Epps started that. Ray Epps could be the reason why January 6th even happened, because if you remember, he spent that 5 seconds talking to that guy, then it was raised over. I mean, the barrel was taken over or whatever. But I think January 6th was a dust-up. But not only that, I think that there were groups of people, certain types of people that committed crimes. So I agree with you. I want the people who injured cops held to the fullest extent of the law. I believe that they should be held to their due process rights, just like the Black Lives Matter supporters. I believe that they should have fair and equal trials, just like the Black Lives Matter people that, could be convicted of crimes. But I agree with you on that point. That's my stance on January 6th.
Let me catch you. Hold on 1 second. What are your thoughts surrounding?
I see cryptos.
Yeah, we see the troll. What are your thoughts surrounding individual or where police officers do great bodily harm or physical injury and take lives of unarmed folks? Like when you look at the case of Jalen Walker. When you look at the case of Jalen Walker in Akron, Ohio, who was shot at 90 times, 60 bullets went into his body. Your thoughts?
I think
Stop running from cops.
Bullshit. I think that's complete bullshit, and I think if you look at the numbers, more white people are killed by cops. So I think that's complete horseshit.
Exactly.
You got a better chance of hitting the lotto than actually getting shot by a police officer. So let's keep it.
Okay, so let's not talk over each other. So let's not talk over each other, sir. You've been speaking for a while. Crypto, why don't you respond, and then sir, you can respond again.
Yeah, no. So this is what Sir Major does, right? He comes in with his one and only points about Jalen Walker and things of that nature. Jalen Walker should have never been running from the cops, should have never been fleeing. If he would have stopped like anyone else, it wouldn't have happened. He talks about J6. He calls them stormtroopers. He calls me defending anyone at J6 stormtroopers. Listen, I'm on the same page as what Ian's saying. I want fair and justice to do no wrong. And what does Sir Major do? He siphons off money off Facebook, off BLM, gets caught, gets indicted during when everyone was supporting BLM, not during its downfall, during when everybody supported it. Now Sir Major comes in with his little talking points of here and there. He has nothing but these little 1 and 2 points that he makes, the same points he made to I'm trying to see here. I'm sorry. Ian was the same points he makes to me. The bottom line is this: you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than getting shot by the cops. When the cops turn on their lights, you pull over and you stop. Do tragedies happen? Absolutely. I've been a DOJ prosecutor for more than over a decade. Sir Major probably may know me. He may not know me. I have no idea. But the thing is, Sir Major brings out the same bullshit points every time. They're anecdotal at best. And at the end of the day, what he doesn't want to look at is the overall stats. BLM raked it in. They could do no wrong from 2020 to 2021. Then we all found out they were buying property, buying real estate. The FBA group that he's a part of, he wants reparations. Not going to happen, but that's their number one standing point. Then on top of that, it's all this white soldier animosity and killing of blacks. Blacks make up what, 16% of our population, but they're 50% of our violent crimes. He has no response to that. His only response is white supremacy, white supremacy. Guess what? He doesn't want to hear about my story because he doesn't care.
Supremacy doesn't exist.
Right. But to him, it does. Systematic white supremacy exists to him. His whole life is the last 2,000 years. He has been a victim. And the only way Sir Major can live today is by continuing to be a victim, not living himself up, not bringing himself up, not making himself into something. Soon he'll be a convicted felon, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, Sir Major, you can respond.
Yeah, I'll respond in it. First of all, majority of the stuff that individual, that troll said, I'm not even responding to. What I will
just Google it. Just Google it.
What I will say, first of all, go on mute. What I'll say is that this individual doesn't know me from a can of paint. This individual only had a conversation via text message, or not text message, but in the DMs, right? He doesn't know me, doesn't know my story, unless he Googled whatever he Googled. So at the end of the day, he doesn't know my talking points. He doesn't know how I would respond to this. Just like many people assume that we wouldn't agree on anything. Ian and I probably agree on 50% of, maybe 60% of stuff. Then there's another portion of stuff where we just disagree fundamentally. And that's okay too. But this person is coming in here acting like he knows me or that we had some sort of dialogue. He doesn't know me from a can of paint.
We have. Why don't you answer my questions? Because you're a fan. You're a fucking fan.
Hey, sir, do you support defunding the police? Because I know a lot of those guys were chanting.
So hold on 1 second. I just want to say one thing. So, Sir Major, as someone who doesn't know either of you, I just want to say one thing that doesn't seem, that seems a bit disingenuous for me, and apologies, I don't mean to insult anyone here, but is, when you say what riots, like, come on, who doesn't know about the buildings burning down during 2020? Like Portland almost, what was it, Portland or Seattle or both, that almost lost their police stations? I mean you know about the riots. So I mean,
okay,
let's get through the whole, like, show me one example, tell me. There were riots all over the place, right?
Okay, so again, to say that it was a BLM riot is just fundamentally not true. Were there incidents that happened throughout the country? Sure. But who's bitching about when white folks are, after winning a World Series game, where they're flipping over cars and setting fires to things? Like, if we're going to have this conversation, let's be honest, intellectually.
Dude, this guy might be the dumbest person you've ever had on a space. Like, this is the same guy who supports defunding the police, burning down buildings. He's denying riots. This guy
exactly.
Well, you didn't ask. What you asked me my opinion on defunding the police, and I haven't been able to give you a response.
Well. We know your position. You're a black nationalist. You support defunding the police. Nobody gives a fuck, dude. Your opinion sucks.
No, you just asked me. You just asked me. You have to give me
let's just be honest here. Nobody here actually thinks you're a fundamentally smart person. You got a big head in your profile. It covers almost the
most white supremacists.
Let's be honest.
Show your anti-blackness. Go ahead,
bro.
Okay,
show your anti-blackness.
We're not talking over each other.
Laughing here at you, bro.
I'm gonna mute everyone.
So I have a question. When do we know if it is a BLM riot versus if it's not a BLM riot? Because I guess I'm just trying to figure out, was that just a blanket statement when they were referring to those as Black Lives Matter riots, or were they just naming them? I don't understand Like, I guess I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that.
Well, I think it's simple, Tara. And I think, first of all, good question, but I think it's a simple question. To determine, in order to effectively determine that if it was a BLM riot or not, is if those who are the organizers or those who are participants, especially black participants, were arrested for these and charged and or convicted for such riots. We do know that COINTELPRO is real. I gave you a prime example of Ray Epps, right? And that's something that we agreed upon. But when it comes to BLM and you say BLM riot, I think a lot of people use that name because it's great for talking points and it's great to try to throw shade to a movement that supports the enrichment and the embetterment of Black lives and protecting Black bodies.
Is that
It happened,
is that why
sir,
they
but like
robbed you?
happened. The riots happened. Cities were burned. Police stations were burned. This is factual
What
information.
Black
You can
protesters
deny
were
it. You
arrested
can
for the
deny it.
riots?
Listen, you can deny it. You can deny this.
Okay, we're gonna have order in here.
Hey Tara, this is Sergio. Can I have the floor? Because I have something to say about this. It ties into like my what I have to tell
Yes.
you about. Yeah.
Yes, please.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Great. Just to break the ice a bit, guys. My name is Sergio Michel. I'm a national artist. I'm an independent. I used to be on Universal and on Interscope. I've been independent for a couple of years. I'm also a TV actor. I book myself. There's a reason for that. Has a lot to do with wokeness and political things since 2010 because I was very critical about the Obama administration. I was among one of the first batch of people on Facebook shadow banned. I was also targeted in the Tea Party movement, even though I wasn't part of the Tea Party movement, just because I agreed with them politically. For the last 12, 15 years, I have been stalked and harassed by these people who claim to be peaceful activists, and they're not. I have thrived though because I do put my faith in God, and I'm an American in America, and I have no excuses. So I've done rather well for myself. But you name it, these people have done it. It's across platforms: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. My distributor on Spotify, fudging my numbers, making sure I don't get paid, following me around concerts, threatening my fans and my coworkers and people I work with, etc. About COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is very much alive, but this guy, Sir Major, is very disingenuous. It is not against everybody. It is being used. It was implemented by the Obama administration to shut down the Tea Party. So they are literally the people who are running BLM and Antifa. So whatever this guy's saying ain't true. I've been a victim of these people for many years. I've kicked their butt, got all their names, and I'm suing them to hell. And I recommend anybody that has been affected by these people should sue them in civil court and just take them to the cleaners. Because now that Elon Musk has exposed that the actual federal government, so it's not the FBI agents. Those guys are good guys. Those are the cops, right? The cops in the feds are good. It's the analysts. These are nobody political hacks who get into the organization and coordinate with their 501c3 little groups, and they trickle it down to the street to the little street soldiers to harass, follow, and intimidate people. And that's what it is. So don't hate the police element of the federal government or the police. It's the analysts. These are nobodies that get a little DOJ badge and they work for InfraGard and they sick these weirdos on normal American people. But I'm telling you right now, just get as much information as you can on them. Wait patiently until you get material evidence and then just sue them to hell. These people are worthless. And if anyone has any questions, just ask me.
I think Sergio, you just spoke too much facts, and we're going to hear another excuse from Sir, so I'll let him say his excuse.
Yeah, and just real quick, I don't know
Sure.
why we're asking Sir Major anything about BLM because he's on the outs. Ever since he's been indicted by the feds, the only thing he's a part of now is FBA, which is total bullshit anyway. He kowtows to Tariq Nasheed. BLM doesn't want him. They kicked him out. He's under fucking federal indictment. He's got his own case coming. The only thing you can ask this guy about is FBA and what he asked Tariq Nasheed to talk about, which they're both fools.
So again, this is a fanboy who's upset that he's blocked and I won't communicate with him. He's upset that Tariq doesn't give him the time. Yeah, like I said, you're a white supremacist racist troll.
Can you explain how?
Like Talbot
what?
Swine, you and your boy named Mark. You and
Like
your boy
what?
Mark. Who's
Like
a former
what,
police
Sir Major?
officer.
Give me examples. Give me examples, Sir Major.
I'm not giving you the time of day on this.
Exactly.
Dude, this
exactly.
is exactly what I'm talking about. You actually
Exactly.
Crypto. You speak facts, he shuts up. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
This guy has no talking points. He's just gonna
I
do
have
the
a litany
comment.
of things he's
Yeah,
done. I
I'm
have a
gonna
whole
say
Could
file
I
on
whatever.
this
ask him a
guy.
question? Since you guys have history, could I ask him a question?
Ask who a question.
The Black Lives Matter guy. Just want to ask him one question.
Go
In
ahead.
America, there's 300,000 black millionaires.